Surprise, surprise, it's not a haul video. I'm going to be showing an album flip through, and this is the one, my Dating and Engaged album, and the one that I've been talking about that I wanted to finish this year, and I have finished it. I started this, maybe when I was pregnant, early 2016, and I'm just finishing it now. It took 4 years in the making, but the way I worked on this album was every March, which is my husband and I's wedding anniversary, I would work on it all the month of March. And so it took a while to accumulate all the photos and print them and, organize them in the pockets. Some of it's a little repetitive or a little bit all over the place because I would make layouts with the photos that I have, and then throughout the years, his mom or my sisters or friends would give us photos, and then I had to add it in there. And so the timeline might be a little mixed up, but for the most part, I try to keep it in chronological order. So as I mentioned before, this gold album, which has been through a lot, it's been moved twice, but it's holding up pretty well as far as the stitching and the corners. Usually in my albums, these corners right here with the gold, with the metal, they're like the first ones to go, but it's held up really well. It just needs to be wiped down a little bit because there's some glue and some coffee stains. And it's from Michael's, and right now, if there's still some left, they're selling this for $9.98 or $97. Pretty good deal. So this is the title page, and I kept it pretty simple. Most of the collections I used are Southern Weddings with Becky Higgins Project Life Core Kit, and then there's some Primo Marketing Hot Buy pads from Michael's. So here's the beginning of when we first met, the story of when we first met. And again, like I said, it's kind of repetitive because I was also doing that 6x8 mini album that Becky Higgins also came out with, Southern Weddings. I realized it wasn't going to fit, and so I started to take it apart and add it to a big 12x12 album. So here's a more detailed story of how we met, and I was telling my crafty friend Janet that my husband was like for real ex-gangster. And they used to call him Slim Shady. But I met him when he gave all of that up on his own, and he got born again. And yeah, it was just months after he made that decision. He still would wear like super baggy clothes and talked real gangster. I mean, here we are at a Dairy Queen, and we were just so shy to even talk to each other. This was in 2003. This video is going to be real chatty, right? Because this is an album flip through of my life, our life together. And so obviously it's going to be personal, and there's going to be stories behind it. But for the most part, I'm also trying to remember embellishments and cards, things like that. I'm also going to give in detail. Okay, he kept this sticky note in his wallet of a prayer that he had prayed to Lord about us and stuff. And so the cool thing about that mini album is that there was a lot of journaling prompts that I by myself wouldn't have come up with. Here's the favorite memory. Some of this is just really simple. I couldn't go overboard with dimension because there's a lot of pages in here, so I had try to keep it flat for the most part. And some of these photos he took himself. Like, I would have never taken this photo, or at least I wouldn't have kept it. Back then when you had those disposable cameras and you would turn them in to get them printed at Walmart, you know how when you go pick them up, you go through the pictures, and then the ones you didn't want, you would give it to them, and they would deduct that from like the total price. Well, this would have been one of the photos I would have given back. But for some reason, he liked it. He also took this picture. Yeah, that's Heidi's swap right there. This is part of a Hot Buy paper pad way back then when we first met. My first impression of him was like, he's a gangster. His first impression. Then the next page is 2008. We jumped to 2008 a little bit. This was at my college graduation party, and that's when we got into a serious relationship in 2008, really. And then another journaling prompt here when I knew she was the one. And so basically I just asked him that and I just wrote down what he said. Here's some Maggie Holmes mixed in with that Southern Weddings core kit. That's Heidi Swap, a wonderful memory we made, fall of 2008. And that's when he asked me to be his girlfriend. First time we said I love you. So this looks unfinished, but I decided to leave some spots for maybe his favorite memory of us and, you know, before we got married. And then maybe a photo will appear and I could stick it in there. So technically that is on purpose. Over here is just a mix of Maggie Home and crepe paper lines, because there's some like Valentine's right here, Maggie Holmes, our first kiss, a story of that, and it's just really neat to have all these stories written down. The story of our first date. Yeah, this is another picture that he kept that I would have not. So here I used Maggie Holmes Carousel, which is one of my favorite collections. I really like that. The journaling sometimes doesn't correlate with the photo, and that's okay, but it's all still of our first years dating. This funny memory, yeah, so he asked me to my prom. He had already finished school and I was a senior, and he asked me to my prom, and when he did, we volunteered to clean up the church, and we were just about done. And when he had asked me, he had like one more thing to do, and when he did, and of course I said yes, and he was excited. And so the last thing he had to do was move a tree that was in a pot from the church to like the fellowship hall, and he was excited, and so he picked up the tree from the trunk instead of the pot, and when he did that, dirt went all over the church carpet. We had to just vacuum it all up, and it was just hilarious. It was just really funny. Real smooth. This is like what I love about us. 2007, there's not a lot of photos of the year 2007 of us, because this is when we actually kind of drifted apart, I guess. So I left it blank just in case more photos would appear, and so they would fit there. We have some open book Project Life cards mixed in with just paper scraps, obviously. And here is of the year 2008. I would go visit him for his birthday and end up staying through the 4th of July weekend. Some of these pages were done over the years. So some of the stuff you can't find in stores. This is actually Mamby stickers. He came to visit me for our first Valentine's together as a couple. Drove 12 hours straight through the night. Didn't even go to sleep. Called me up at 8 in the morning. I was still in bed, I think. He called me and he's like, hey, there's a package for you outside. I really want you to open it. So I was like, okay. And then I hung up the phone and I went back to sleep. And so he called me again and he's like, did you open it? And I start to get up and I'm in my pajamas, like my short shorts and tank top, and you know, us girls, you know. And so I'm going out there, and my sister and my dad knows what's going on. They know that he's coming to visit. So my sister goes, oh, you need to get dressed. And I was like, to open the door and get a package? No, I'm not getting dressed. And my dad's like, oh, well, you know, I really think you should wear this. And he gave me my robe. I opened the door and he's there. And I'm like, oh. We spent the whole day from the morning to night. He left the next morning early and had to go to work. So that was, wow, dedication right there. That's a really sweet story to tell. And then I moved to North Carolina, and some of these photos are when he would come visit me there. I really like the way this one turned out. This is one of my favorites. This is our 1-year anniversary, so this is 2009. I actually just found this photo, so that one's not like embellished or backed up with anything. These were papers that I had left over from a pad I almost was about to use up. So I decided to use up the very last papers with this, and it worked out really well because this also wasn't my style anymore, but it worked out really well with what we're wearing. Then this says when I knew he was the one. This is kind of goes together. So this is us celebrating during the day, and then at night that we went to go see U2. And what's funny is I think the Muse, was the band that was supposed to open up for them, which my husband was very excited about. And then last minute, we found out that Black Eyed Peas was going to open for them, which is hilarious because my husband is so not into the Black Eyed Peas. We had fun, and then when we got married, we ended up putting in some songs from the Black Eyed Peas that we heard at this U2 concert in our wedding playlist, and it was just like an inside joke during our wedding. Okay, so I used the Crepe Papers Valentine's collections here. He's really good at keeping tickets and little programs or maps and stuff. He'll keep that stuff. It's really cute, and it works out for me as a scrapbooker. I really did not want to cut this photo. I'm really not into that whole... I've seen layouts where they'll cover the complete pocket page of a huge 12 by 12 photo, but it's all cut up. It looks pretty. I appreciate it, but for me, I just can't do that. So what I did is I covered this up with my hand, and I was like, if I were to keep this photo, I would be fine, just as, you know, as a 4x4. So I'm okay. It's okay. It's okay. So there's Bono and there's the Edge, and we were quite close. So here is February 2010, and then the Christmas train into December 2010. So I had moved to Tulsa in the fall, so I was already living in Tulsa as well. Another Valentine's Day. I think I have a photo of us every Valentine's Day. This is 2011. That was at night, and this was in the morning. And what's funny, he asked me, what do you want for Valentine's Day? And I was like, donuts. And he came with the biggest donut. It was like the size of my face. I think it was actually a cinnamon roll / donut. Pretty funny. So I don't know if y'all remember, but Crepe Paper had like a vintagey vibe Valentine's collection. And I don't even remember where I bought it. I think Michael's even used to sell Crepe Paper, and now they, you know, you can't even find it at all. So that's what that collection is from. Summer of 2010, right? Yeah. We're in a long distance relationship for almost 2 years. We were 2 months shy of 2 years. And so my husband and I, like, if anything, we really learned how to communicate. This layout was actually done separately, but then it was adding too much bulk to my album, so I cut off the holes that are punched to put in the album. I cut that off, and then I fused it to this, obviously, I think. Yes? And these were just scraps that were left on my desk, so this layout was made with scraps. Obviously, there was a lot of Dear Lizzie. You don't see a lot of purple, so that's different. Here is just some notes that we passed to each other when I'd leave a note on his car or in his wallet, and he would put one in my purse or luggage or whatever. This is like a Target dollar spot tag. This is just scraps here. I backed this up with white cardstock. Felt like it got lost a little bit. It needed to be popped up a bit. I also love this one. This is a 6 by 12, and these photos are of dates 3 months before he asked me to marry him. He planned out really special dates, since here we had a picnic at Woodward, and he cooked and like planned the whole thing. It was real sweet. And I used Maggie Holmes. Real sweet and dainty, and I really like the way that turned out. And then this is the only photos I have of just us of this year, and it was the 4th of July. We went to go see the Tulsa Drillers baseball game, and man, was it hot. So hot. And then this was a date we had at a movie at a lawn at an art museum. So the only thing that's left, I think I mentioned this before, is that I need to buy 12 by 12 acetate, and I can't find acetate locally, so I think I'm gonna have to buy it online. Our engagement, so this is now the day he asked me to marry him, and then following. And how he asked, so in 2012, and maybe the years before and after, it was really popular to have a wedding website of all your details and how things are going, you know, like a blog, I guess. And we had one, and he wrote how he asked me to marry him, like how the whole day went and how he planned it and all of that. He wrote this, so this is his journaling, and I just printed it out. And so this is when we came back from him asking me and that whole date, and my family was waiting for us. This is in North Carolina. We took a family trip to go visit my sister. My family was waiting for us with a little party, and it was just super sweet. I had no idea, y'all. Like, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was happening that week, you know? Some of these are Jolie stickers that my sister passed down to me. She had like a whole bunch of scrapbooking stickers. She doesn't scrapbook, so I think someone gave them to her and she passed them on to me. Then they worked out really cute. I think I was trying to do something where I would use up my washi, so that's washi, that's washi. Because this is real photo heavy, so I didn't want to take away from that. I've put this on my Instagram. This little insert here is a card that my dad gave me on this day. I didn't want the ink to fade. So what I did is I put in some cardboard, cut into it with my X-Acto knife, right? And then I fused it shut on the top because the way you buy them, it's open from the top. So that way the writing is protected, but I can read it, you know, so it's not in a sleeve where you can't open it, but now you can. This was separate from this, and I just fused it again to reduce the bulk. The first to know who we called right after we got engaged. These were clear stickers from Hobby Lobby. Love happens every day, oh darling, let's be adventurous. And then there's some Tim Holtz word stickers, and then these are scraps. These are labels from Michaels. These are my own enamel dots that I made. Mi amor. These are engagement photos. We did a photo shoot. Your hand in mine. This is actually a candid shot that my sister took that I ended up loving. It's one of my favorites. Maggie Holmes with a bunch of cut aparts. Our rings, the engagement ring, the details of it, his wedding band. No, my wedding band, so. And then his wedding band. Engagement photo shoot, yeah. This I made myself. I just cut this out on my silhouette, and then I put washi where the white part is. I put washi, and then this, I painted it with gold acrylic paint, and that is how that came. And then so that it wouldn't move around, I fused it a little bit in little spots. Pretty neat. I didn't really know what to do with these pages. These are from Hobby Lobby, but I thought this would be perfect to put your title, so that way you can have more space for embellishing or journaling or more photos. Yeah. This is like the classic newspaper engagement photo that we used. Some Maggie Holmes, lots of Maggie Holmes. Open book. Now this, again, was in that 6x8 album, so if it were up to me, I would have opened it completely and added another hole punch and had it fully like this, but it is what it is. Just real simple, dainty, real cute. Love that photo, the light, gorgeous. That's just an outtake. I was putting the settings on my camera for the lighting. Yeah, one of those Heidi's Pops stickers that are super popular right now. Engagement party, which is not very popular, but me and my husband, we love to celebrate, and so we had to have a engagement party. Used Chasing Dreams, and look, there's a felt heart. I really don't know what to do with felt sometimes, and I still don't know how I feel about it in scrapbook. These are Jolie stickers that my sister passed down to me. More photos of that. That's just journaling about the party. This I did not want to take apart, so I kept it as is, and it's just my niece who's 11 now. And so yeah, it's more of those stickers from Jolie's that she handed down to me, some wood veneer. And these right here, these page enforcers, I think they called reinforcers, I think, are Heidi Swap, and I wish I had 10 packs of them. I love them. This is a little pocket that I made that I might have to go and sew. It is stapled, but I just don't know how well this is gonna hold up with just double-sided tape. And just cards that we got from our party, and this is from the 6x8 album, and then I just put this paper there, trimmed it, and made it into a pocket. And then I used a branding strip to look like washi. This is a card that my sister made. I was planning a wedding from out of town, so we got married in Texas, but we're in Tulsa, right? I don't know what it was, but the vendors in my town, maybe that it's not as big as like a city like Tulsa, and so it's a small city, and maybe they're just not used to it, like people planning out of town back then. So they were giving me a hard time, y'all. They were requesting, almost demanding, that I had to meet them in person in order to book them, and I was like, oh my goodness, that can't happen. I can't do that, but I want to book you. Please work with me here. I was getting real frustrated, and so my sister sent me a little encouragement there. Okay, time to celebrate. So this is wedding planning, wedding dress shopping, who I came with, how many dresses I tried on, where I found it, how I felt, details of my dress, and this is Prima. Yeah, I think that's Prima. I totally messed up on this real bad, but whatevs. This is what I gave to her and what he gave to him, asking, you know. I just printed a copy for myself to add to a scrapbook. This is actually not using Maggie Holmes. This is using some Project Life kit, but I think it's because the photos have so much color in them. I had to use something that, you know, coordinated with that. Here is a bridal shower using Maggie Holmes. It went really well with how they decorated, you know, real sweet. And then more of those stickers that my sister gave me. They worked out really well. That was a bridal shower that my coworkers and some parents from infants that I would care for came, and that was just real sweet. I did a lot of DIY in my wedding. It was lots of fun. My sister is also a real huge photo taker, and I credit a lot of these photos to her. This is a 3x4 of all the details of our wedding invitations. So I know I've mentioned it before. I think I have a post about this on my Instagram. I know I do. And I handmade all of our wedding invitations. We collected a whole bunch of books that bookstores were either going to just like donate, or they were selling for real cheap. And we bought a whole bunch, and we made our invitations with them, and I, you know, basically had a little photo shoot with my wedding invitation and the details. Yeah. That's the book there, their wedding invitation in there. It would have been very expensive to send it out to people who are out of the country or out of the state. And so I also handmade some invitations for them. 50% of the people came to our wedding were from also out of town, and so I made some goodie bags for them and filled with a whole bunch of things that are made in Texas. Our card basket that we found at a antique store. I made my flower girl's basket where she was gonna hold the flowers, and then my sister's corsages that I made for them because I didn't want them to dry out and die, so I handmade them with felt. So as you can tell, these photos did not fit into a 3x4, and so all I did was got a 3x4 and just put it horizontally to fit in the landscape mode photo, and then I just fused it on top, and it works out. This is on my Instagram for sure. It's just using a whole bunch of Valentine's collections from crepe paper, but not Valentine photos. So this has nothing to do with Valentine's. This is my bridal shower in Texas. So that was like a little challenge that I did. This is not crepe paper. This is Target Dollar Spot right there. And then this is just a sweet insert of my aunt who's now passed. And my mom passed in 2005. And so she's not here. This is 2012. And my aunt was really there for me and company, or to help out. And she actually made the cake at my bridal shower. And this is just my thoughts and feelings about, you know, her being there for me. And that's from She's All Heart, All Heart crepe paper. And these are old crepe paper Valentine's collections there. I don't know where this foil 3x4 card is from, but I love it. It's so cute. It's like a heart doily. Let's take that out. So cute. Yeah, Texas bridal shower. Again, using crepe paper, Valentine's collections, my maid of honor, a collage of everyone who came. This is me getting that mani-pedi before the wedding. This is actually a doily that my sister sent to me just recently. We had ordered cookies from her. She has her own cookie business, sugar cookie business, where they have those really fancy decorated cookies for events or parties, birthdays, or thank yous, or I mean, just anything. They're just absolutely delicious. Yes, this is a little commercial advertisement. She's not paying me for this, but I will tell you this. I would not talk about it too much if they weren't really good. And she works really hard and she really cares about the ingredients, and yeah, I really liked how that one turned out too. These were scraps. So after I did all of these layouts, I had some scraps obviously, and these were all the scraps, and then all I did was distress them with the edge of my scissors and then made little clusters, 3 clusters here. And this was at my bachelorette party. I really liked how this one turned out. Here we have more of that night, so I like how it coordinates, you know. And I love that I got to use this little unicorn, because when else am I going to use it? But it's so darn cute. Yeah, my sister. So Grey's Anatomy was like super trending back then. And so there's McSteamy with my husband's face on top of his face. So McSteamy's body, but my husband's face. I found that hilarious. And I can tell by their giggles that they couldn't wait to show me the cake. Yeah, these were just last minute projects. I do have the Gather project like it. Happy Mail has influenced me to use my chipboard. I don't just follow scrapbookers, I also follow Happy Mail because I get ideas from them and stuff. You know, like I would have never thought to use that unicorn, but that was all influenced by Happy Mail. And then this is our rehearsal dinner, which the Chasing Dreams collection goes really, really well with, but I think this is Gather. For some texture, I added in some ribbon. And I like the way that came out because I really needed these to pop out. I didn't want to back them up with cardstock because they're quite small, as you can tell. So I just thought of putting some trim there on the back and then, you know, glue them down. I'm sure I glued them down. And this is from the Maggie Home sticker books. You don't just have to use them for your planners. And then, like I said, this is not how I would have finished an album with the 6x12, but it just ended up being like that. And this is on my Instagram recently, and this is just me and my dad at our rehearsal dinner, just having a special moment. I love that photo. Again, my sister took that photo. Yeah. And then the last page is me giving me my thank you gifts to my bridesmaids because they did do so much and helped me out, and I didn't have an issue with them really. In other words, like where it got ugly or there was tension, it was just real fun, and they were just so excited for us. So anyways, so that completes my album. It is done, and what a sweet story to have and written down, and I could show it to my kids, my girls, and I hope you enjoyed this. Flip throughs are something that I'm like, is anybody gonna watch them? Because like I said, they are personal, you know, they're chatty, they're stories. It's not all just the techniques and the products. It's a little bit more detail about the life of the scrapbooker, and some people just don't care for that, and that's cool. That's okay. You don't have to watch this video. This is just for fun, and I'll see y'all in my next one.